bestseller, a house flipper, a businesswoman, a go-getter, a big investor, a goal builder that could teach you to get richer like millions, baby. You really about to fill your savings. You about to have multiple streams to pass your children, baby. Let me teach you to get your credit on track in the long run. You'll make it all back at Catalyst and watch it all psychology black home firm, but we ain't all black.
What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Constance Carter, and this is the Grow Your Money podcast. What's up, everybody? Come on in, my friends. This is where we talk about ways that you can grow your money and not blow your money, because if you blow your money, it ain't a damn thing funny, y'all. So listen, it's Money Monday, and we're back. I've been out of town for the last couple of weeks, and so I was traveling a little bit, did a conference, the Black Power Conference. It was great. It was in Miami. Then we hopped on a cruise. It was so great. But before we get started, I always like to know who's in the room. So first of all, let me just tell you this. We're on like 8 different platforms right now. So if you're watching from Instagram, so the way this works is I love the interaction. I love the engagement. I love to go back and forth with you. I like to see your comments on the screen. And if you're watching from Instagram, because now I'm starting to go live on Instagram too, which I normally didn't used to go live on there. But if you're watching from Instagram and you want to ask a question or you want to engage, go over to YouTube. And when you go over to YouTube, go to I Am Constance Carter. I Am Constance Carter at YouTube. So let me see. I wanted to put a banner up. But go to youtube.com/@IamConstanceCarter. That way you can come on here. And then if you have questions, because I have a lot of great information here. Let me add actually at I Am Constance Carter is right here. Oh, no, it's not even that. Wait, am I on here? No, it's not on here. So if you're not on YouTube, and you want to ask a question, or Facebook, even Facebook, if you come to my Facebook page, I Am Constance Carter, because you can follow me anywhere on I Am Constance Carter. I'm gonna add this banner real quick. This happens when we live. So let me delete this one because it says I got too many. All right, boom. So I Am Constance Carter. So if you're not on YouTube, you can go on YouTube, go to I Am Constance Carter if you want to engage. But I know we have people that watch from all over the world. Whether you're in the United States or you're in Europe or Africa or Asia. Put in the comments where you're watching from, because I always like to shout you out. This is a dialogue and not a monologue. That means I want you to talk back to me and talk black to me. This is for everybody. And so I always like to talk to you about things that's going to enhance your life in one way or another. Okay. So I'm going to talk to you. We have a special guest today because I want to talk to you about TED Talks and TEDx's. And I don't know if you guys have ever wanted to have a TEDx. Has anybody in here ever wanted to have a TEDx or do a TED Talk on a TED stage? I'm not talking about standing on stage. I'm talking about really getting selected, delivering a message. A TED Talk or a TEDx is an idea worth sharing. It's not a lecture. It's not a motivational speak. It's an idea worth sharing. And I did a TEDx back in 2020. And Carla, you, I did a TEDx back in 2020, and it ended up doing over 440. It ended up being viewed over 440,000 times. I've had over 440,000 views on my TEDx. And when I tell you, my phones exploded when I when I did my TEDx. Everybody wanted to work with me. People were saying that it was the best TEDx that they'd ever seen. But what most people don't know is getting on the stage is not random. There is definitely a strategy behind it. So you got to understand what it is that you're doing, how you're doing it. You have to have a direct goal and strategy behind getting on stage, what you want your outcomes to be, and how you want it to roll out. There's so many people that I know personally that have wanted to do TEDx's. And so I have a gentleman here that's going to come on here with me. He actually organized the TEDx that I did back in 2020. It was his first TEDx. He's done several since then. Oh, Carla, you saw my TEDx? Thank you. I'm going to show y'all. I'm going to show you guys my TEDx a little bit later, a little later. But this gentleman is the gentleman who organized the TEDx, and he's done several, and they've just improved over time. His name is Ade Omole. Ade Omole?
Yes, you got it. Ade Omole. Yes.
What's up, Ade? How
Hey,
you doing?
I'm doing good, doing good. It's so awesome. Thank you for inviting me to your platform to just
Yeah,
have
man.
this wonderful conversation. Yeah.
Well, listen, Ade, first of all, thank you for selecting me to do the TEDx. Because to be honest with you, I had applied at several TEDx's and got turned
Wow.
down. So you
Yeah.
are the first person who actually said yes to me, and so I appreciate it.
Yeah.
What
But
made
I
you
think
decide?
you but I
Yes,
think you said yes as well. Remember?
yeah, I did. But
Because
what made you
yes,
say yes?
yeah, you okay, we said yes first, then you said yes again. Because I
Mhm.
remember at that time, because it was in the middle of COVID, you
Yeah.
remember it was
Mhm.
and venues were shutting down, and I called you, I said, would you come down to Houston for this? And you said, yes.
Let me tell you, I had wanted to do a TEDx. So this is how manifestation works because my friend Chandra did a TEDx like 2 years before that. And when I saw her on the stage, I was like, I want to do a TED Talk. And so I wrote it down. You know, I do the whole visualization and manifestation thing, and I wrote it down. And before I even got the TEDx, I had already had my speech down. I knew I knew what I was going to generally talk about. I had an idea of what I wanted to talk about, but I had to formulate and put it together. And that's what I'm grateful for because the great thing about you guys, and a lot of organizers don't do this, but you guys not only will put you on the stage, but you'll help you help them, go through the process, and you helped us kind of formulate our ideas and put it together. But before we even get into that, who are you? Who is Ade beyond TEDx? What do you want people to understand about you?
That's a very great question. Most times when people are asked that question, they talk about what they do. They talk about their occupation and things like that. Who am I? I believe I'm an architect of ideas,
Ooh,
and
I like
so
that.
which is why even TEDx ties well into what I do. So
Mhm.
again, separating what I do from who I am, I dream a lot. I literally dream a lot. You bring an idea to me, I'm dreaming with you, like, let's do this. I'm seeing multiple ways that you can achieve that same dream, and I've found out that if I have a 30 minutes call with anyone with a business idea, they'll get clarity before we get off the call. And
Oh, that's good.
that's kind of the time frame I've seen happen. I mean, they will get excited, they're ready to run. And so it has taken years to actually kind of figure out where I need to, kind of stay in when it comes to who I am. But
Mhm.
when it comes to education or what I've learned over time, I started off in architecture back in Nigeria before I moved over to US in 1997. And then when I got here, the computer was so fascinating to me because back home in Nigeria, I didn't even have access to a computer. And they used to chase me out of the lab in school
Oh,
then.
kind of like
Like,
Bill Gates. That's the Bill
yeah.
Gates story. Yeah.
Yeah, they were like, man. So computers was something I was just into, and I started programming, coding, and things like that. So I started off in tech first, and
Okay.
in technology, worked with multiple businesses. I've been part of advisory boards and consulting for marketing and branding. But just fast forwarding to where we are right now, which, like when you get to a certain time in your life, you need to really figure out what legacy you want to have, what impact you want to have. And I know
Yeah.
speaking is going to be one of the huge aspect of what I'm going to do. Not just being able to just talk, but actually impact others, transfer knowledge, help others to elevate to where they need to be. So in 2019, I had an opportunity to go for a keynote, to be a keynote speaker for a tech conference in Russia, and it was actually a surprise. And I was actually the keynote speaker. That's
In
number one.
Russia?
In Russia, yeah. I mean, like I've not done a keynote speaking in US. I was taken out of the country to go be a keynote speaker. Can you imagine? And so when I was coming back in the plane, I remember one of the times that I was at my desk and I was thinking about what does it look like in the, like later in the future, maybe like 20 years later. And this was like almost 10 years before then. And I said, I'll be speaking in the marketplace, and so when that happened, I said, when I get back to Houston, I need to start pursuing the speaking business.
Wow.
So when I got back to Houston, 2019, ending of 2019, I said, you know what? I can't wait for people to give me the stage, so I'll create the stage.
That
So
was
that
what I
was
was going to ask you. Why did you create or organize as opposed to speak?
I know exactly. I didn't know at that time.
Oh,
I did not know. I just applied to different platforms. I applied to
huge.
Toastmasters, applied to TEDx. I just applied to multiple platforms. Like, I want an existing brand that I can, you know, partner with, so that way I can leverage on the brand, So Toastmaster responded back, TEDx responded back. So I was excited. I said, okay, let me go with TED. At
Yeah.
that moment, I didn't even know too much about TED. That's a funny part.
Interesting.
Yeah. When I finished my talk in Russia, someone approached me and said, man, your talk is like a TED talk. I'm like, okay, what's a TED talk? So I had to go research on it. So when I finished the documentation and everything, then I read the fine print. You as an organizer, you cannot speak on your stage. I was like,
Yep.
well, what do
Uh-oh.
you do? I said, well, you know what? I'll create the stage for others. It's fine. Let's move on with it. So that's how I started off with TEDx. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it. So that was kind of almost a cheat code, but actually, most people wouldn't even, I mean, almost, right? Most people wouldn't.
Looking back now, it looks like a cheat code, but
Yeah, that wasn't the intention.
no.
Wow.
As a matter of fact, I was invited to go the second time for a keynote speaking engagement in Russia, but because of COVID, everything shut down. So I was like,
Yeah.
okay, so we have a stage here, and that's like, I have a production studio, so that made it much more easier.
Yeah.
I reached out to all the candidates that were selected. I said, hey, are you, there's COVID. Do you want to come? Should we?
Yeah.
You should. And they say, yes, let's do it. So that's how we started off. And I'm glad we started then, just to challenge other people that have visions and ideas, and you feel like, oh, should I do it or should I not do it? Just do it. Even when you have bottlenecks and challenges. I remember talking to Constance as well at that time. She had other events she was going to attend that year that were shut down. There was even a major event in Houston, I believe. I'm trying to remember the name of the event. And she was so resilient that she wanted those events to hold. It's just the other parties that were involved were not interested in holding it. So I appreciate that about her as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we were gonna do. We used to do a big conference every year, and I was like, I don't care. Nope, we gonna do it.
I know. Let's do it.
They were like, listen, you cannot do this event, and I was like, damn, I was still gonna do it. Like I had all kind of. I had Ray J come in. I had Trey the Truth. I had all these people come in, and I was like, we gonna do it anyway. And it was like, no. But speaking of the TED Talk in 2020 that you did, I do remember we came down there, and it's funny because like I said, my talk ended up having over 440,000 views, thankfully. And that's a rare thing. So it's not, that's not something that happens with everyone. Some people get 20 million views. Some people get 200 views. It just depends. And I just feel like I do feel like my talk was a good talk, but it was also, it was some marketing, but it was also some luck too. But I do remember just looking at the comments, because I would go in there and look at the comments when I was having that. It was a big run. And I'm telling you, my phones just kept going. And people were like, oh, because the beginning, I do a little joke, like to open up with a little joke. And it was like, people were like, that didn't land well, or people aren't laughing. Well, there was only like 5 people in the studio. I mean, people in the studio. Just for all of you guys that see my TEDx, it wasn't that I wasn't funny. It's just nobody was there because it was freaking COVID. But I appreciate the fact that you did that anyway, because at the time, a lot of people were doing TEDx's virtually. You remember that?
Yeah. Yes, I remember that. Yes, people were switching to virtual, and which I was not too comfortable with. I wanted people to be in the space, which proved its own challenges at that time too, because we had people in the space, then we had people remote trying to engage with us on the screen. And second one, I eliminated that part because it posed some challenges. I think one of the things, I don't think we ever talked about this, is while the TED Talk was being done, you guys in the room were seeing all the technical things that were going on, the challenges we were facing, how we're pulling our hairs and trying to make sure.
I had a little knock on mine. You could hear a little knock in my audio.
Oh yeah, you had that thing that was goodness.
Yeah.
We just yeah, and I'm the, I always want to deliver excellence in what we're doing when it comes to production. So I was
Yeah.
really stressed, like, oh my God, I don't like this, I don't like this. But it
Yeah.
was taking that leap of faith and just stepping out. It really paid off in the long run. And then you said something earlier on about the views and things like that. I also just want to use one word to just explain or to capture what you did. You were very intentional in
I
what you
was.
did.
I was. Mhm.
So from the idea itself to preparation for the idea, this has been years of preparation that she's been working on. It's not just something that happened overnight.
Correct.
And people sometimes they have this idea, but they're not working on it to get clarity on it. It
Yeah.
requires a lot of intentionality for preparation to apply, and also when you get chosen to actually work on it. I mean, there were coaching sessions and all this stuff, but even post the event, she was still intentional in making sure it gets to the right people.
Oh yeah,
So
I promoted my stuff. I promoted the hell out of it. And it's crazy because I really don't get nervous when I speak. I love speaking. People would be very surprised to know that I'm an introvert.
I was gonna say that. Oh my God, I was reserving that for myself because when I met you, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go to my room. I'm gonna stay in my room. I'm good. I'm like, man, she's an introvert.
I'm
And she
totally
has her own
introvert,
routine,
and I don't want.
and she has a routine, and she doesn't want anybody to mess it up. And like, I follow this routine. I'm gonna go to the gym at this time. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. I'm like
Very regimented.
she wasn't interacting or engaging with anybody that much. Like, okay, just do that thing.
But I didn't want people to think like I'm being like standoffish. I'm not her. I don't like, I come in. So if I speak, I'm gonna speak on stage, but in person, I'm not, I'm an introvert. So people were probably like, ugh. But I didn't want people to think that. It's just I'm very, very introverted. People are surprised by that. But I was actually nervous when I did the TEDx. Like I'm never nervous, but I just knew how this is something that I wanted really bad. I wanted to do it for so long. And that I knew that it was the potential, the people seeing it was huge. Like I'm doing the TEDx. And I tell you what, my practice was way better than the final. Oh man, my practice was the bomb. But when I got on stage, I missed some things, and I was like, "Oh my God, I missed this!" Because when I tell you, I practiced on that thing for months and months. I recorded myself, I audio recorded, I video recorded, I did it in the mirror, I did it when I was driving, I did it while I was walking in the morning. Like I was going over that thing. Like I take my stuff serious. So in terms of like, I don't need a teleprompter. I don't, it was ingrained in me. But I still miss some things because I'm telling you, my practice ones was way better. But I am grateful. But it's a nerve-wracking thing. Yeah. I will ask you, because you did talk about all the challenges and things that you've had to deal with. What surprised you most when, like, from the behind the scenes perspective, you putting on the TEDx and you working with TED?
I think when it comes to, I bet I can divide that into two parts. One is when planning an event and you're just starting afresh, because I think people don't understand what happens as an organizer. So I'll just give a little tip on that. One, I become a licensee for a territory, right? And they want you to run the whole thing. They'll give you some guides. So there was a challenge of hosting an event and also curating the ideas and speakers and building the team. And you're doing everything from scratch, like literally from scratch. Like,
really? They don't give you anything?
They give you guides. You have to execute it. You have to look for sponsors. You have to look for, you have to do your prints. You have to pull the cameras, equipment, and all these things. Like you're doing everything from scratch. By the time you do the second one, it becomes a little more easier because some of the things are repeats at that point. You've laid some foundation. Even being able to pitch for volunteers to join you in organizing the events and knowing how things run, knowing the TEDx rules, how to go through all the rules. I connected with people like in Amsterdam that were organizers to just understand, what are you doing? How are you doing it? learning from other organizers. But the good thing about the community of TEDx is that all the other TEDx community organizers, they're ready to help you, at least give you guidance and see what needs to be done. So that was good. So I was able to reach out to a number of them and help me to understand what to do. But regardless, just like anyone that's planned events before, it is a lot of work.
Everybody keeps telling me to plan events. You should do this, and I'm just like, oh, it sounds like so much. When I was doing back in the day, I had 40 people that were helping me. I'm in the DMV by myself. It'll just be me and my daughter. So that's the thing about it. So I just looked on Instagram, and oh, by the way, if you guys are watching from Instagram and you want to ask questions and you want to interact, I prefer you guys to go to YouTube or my Facebook page at I Am Constance Carter. That way you can show up on the stage, and I don't have to go between screens, because if you see me pause, it means I'm going over to like my thing pauses. It just means I'm looking at the Instagram. But somebody said,
really an introvert? Yeah, she is.
Oh yeah, Deborah, you couldn't tell when I just got off a cruise with Deborah. She was on the cruise with me. I know you guys, so I know you guys. So yeah, I'm talking to you guys, but I'm probably not as outgoing or as rambunctious as you might think when you see me here. Even like if I'm on here, just so you guys know, like I'm very quiet before we get on here, and then I come on and it's lights, camera, action. Like I'm not a big personality person in real life. But somebody asked on Instagram, who's the gatekeeper? Who decides if there's an idea worth sharing or not? So basically, when you're reviewing applications, what separates the yeses from the nos?
Okay. Yeah, there's so many guides, and we can go over that later on, in which Constance will actually talk about that. But I'll just give you a few things. One is, as the organizer, you need to know the rules of TEDx. So you actually granted a licensee to curate the speakers. Now you will build a team of curators that will create ideas. So note what I said, create ideas. We create ideas, not speakers. The focus is not, oh, you're a public speaker, great out there. It's more of, do you have an idea that's worth sharing? So as we're going through the applications, those are some of the things we look at. And then, of course, there's some other TEDx rules that you need to abide by. And when people don't understand that, which sometimes is written on the form, but people are not paying attention to it, they miss out on those things. Clarity is also one of the main things that can separate you from others. When you have multiple ideas in one topic, people confuse topic with an idea. You can put a great topic there and have so many ideas embedded into that one topic. But what you want is you just want one main idea that can be broken down into a framework that people can understand, either to trigger a conversation or a call to action in actually doing something similar, or just helping people to see a different perspective to that one idea. So these are just a few out of what it requires. Now, going back, who decides? So you have, the organizer has his own team that will create the ideas. When the ideas are created, they select the few that need to be selected. Imagine you have 100 applications, but you have only 5 to 10 spots. I think the highest number of speakers I've had on my stage is about 9, and then you have 50, 100 applications, and you still have to select out of that. Then on the stage also, the talk has to be related to the theme in a way. Sometimes it doesn't have to be. And there also has to be a variety of talks. So everybody can be talking about medical, or everybody's talking about mental health, or everybody. So which is why even when Constance had her idea shared, it was very unique across board. There was nobody sharing anything that was similar to what she shared. So I'll stop right there. I hope that helps a little bit with how ideas are picked.
Thank you. Big Mac said he's been listening, but for those who don't know, because some people don't even know what TEDx's are.
Okay, that's
crazy, Big Mac. What rock have you been hiding under, sir?
Thank you for that, though. I think I have to always remind myself that not everybody knows it. When we're trying to pick a location, where there was an ISD here in Houston, that I reached out to. So I was talking to one of the
What's an ISD?
administrators, ISD, Independence Supreme, what do you call it? Ah, and now I don't remember the full name now, but it's like how you have education regions for schools, the ISD, Superintendent District or something like that. Can't remember. School district, independent school districts,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So they have an overall body over multiple schools, right? Between K to 12 or whatever, right? So I reached out to the administrator because I wanted to use one of their venues. Of course, it was closed down eventually. And she said, "Oh, okay. What is TEDx?" And this in the education space. Yeah, I was shocked. So, and me, I'm just getting into TEDx, and someone is asking me what is TEDx. I'm like, gee, thank you for that independent school district. I was struggling. So, but what is TEDx? So, first of all, we start with what is TED. So, TED started some years ago. I mean, where they're a global platform for people to share their ideas. Usually it's between 15 to 18 minutes talk. And these talks are really very, very, they're very, because, when you do like keynote speaking, you can kind of sway back and forth, in an hour, you can go off topic and come back. No, you have to be right on point for every idea you're sharing. It's been peer reviewed, it's valid, it's not something, it's not a bad science. It's not politically driven. It's neither religiously driven, but it's ideas that can actually shape and move audiences to take an action. And people have shared these ideas, and they're like millions of views all across the globe. So they introduced TEDx, which has the X behind it, which is where independent organizers, actually locally that have been licensed, can actually launch this TEDx talks. So they lead those things in different regions or territories. So the region I was in, was in Alief in Houston. So I had to launch it for that audience. And so when the TEDx organizer organizes it locally, they will now curate and produce the videos and submit it to TED, which they also review again. There's always a final review, and then approve and push on the global platform that has millions of views. So I hope that helps with understanding what the TEDx is. So the easier way is to go to TED.com, and you'll see everything about TEDx. So a lot of speakers. It's actually the premier platform for the speaking industry, if we put it that way.
When there was one TED that was done that I think I referred to you, they put a disclaimer on her TEDx. Why? And does that happen often?
Yes, so that happens from time to time, especially when, depending on what the talk is, when the talk is on the edge where maybe like you're dealing with mental issues or dealing with political, which is really, they're trying to make sure they're very neutral when it comes to the talk itself, because of how, these are talks that are used in schools, people respect the platform, right?
Yeah.
So they put a disclaimer that this is not our opinion, but the opinion of the speaker. In some cases, they will actually not publish it. I think there was one case they didn't publish the TED Talk because
It was one of yours?
Yeah, there was one on my platform. Yeah, I did.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, I've worked with multiple TED Talks, and it's helped me to understand what they're looking for, what they won't accept, things to avoid, to avoid, so that way you don't get those disclaimers. Yeah.
So then let me ask you this. What did you know, like going in? So you didn't mind. We were your very first ones. Yes. So of course I seen, when I seen other people do it, because again, I referred a couple of people, I'm like, shit, they got great production. Look at it was way better. So, how do you think you've improved over time? Like, what do you know now that you didn't know then when you first started?
What did I not know? I think maybe one of the things is starting is always challenging, because nobody knows you yet. Even though you're part of the TED, you still have to push your own presence and visibility in the community. And why is that important? Because we need sponsors, we need partners, we need to be able to, for us to do quality production, you need a great team internally, and then you need the day of the event. We've improved over the years to the
Mhm.
point where we have like 20 people involved in different aspects of the events, from the day of the event, of welcoming in people, having activities, performances, and all these things that have been, improved over time. But it comes from just building the community, right? Building your presence and visibility. I hope that answered the question. So what have I learned? I've learned there's always room for improvement. Let's put it that way. There's always room for improvement. Yeah.
What makes a talk forgettable versus one that's unforgettable though? Like, why would you think? I know that I did certain things afterwards, but I seen a few people that were especially within my group, and then people that I've seen they've pushed theirs out. What made my talk unforgettable versus someone else, to get 440,000 views versus someone who may have had a good talk, but they didn't get, or maybe it was just, maybe theirs was just not as unforgettable as mine. I mean, because when I look at it, I do see, I'm like, you know what? There were a couple that I really, really liked. Mine really, for me, is like up there with the top TEDx's that I've seen. But what made mine unforgettable to where people would have wanted to watch it?
Yeah, I would say the first thing is simplicity.
Is
Um,
what?
being very simple, being
Mm,
clear with your message, right? Your message was able to be relevant across a wide audience. Sometimes people are talking in vague terms or things that people cannot relate with. Your message was very relatable. So messages that are very relatable, they'll have greater impact because you're increasing your audience now. Many times people come up to share their talk with them trying to tell their story,
yeah.
which is like a flip. Most times people say, "Oh, TED Talks is a great storytelling platform." No, it's an idea sharing platform. You corroborate your idea with great stories. And but
Yeah.
when it comes to other way around, where you're having stories trying to share an idea, it can be obvious in your talk. And
Yeah.
so,
Hmm.
what makes it memorable? The stories that corroborate the ideas. How visual can people see it? How can they relate with it? When you're sharing a TED talk, you're actually sharing a part of you through millions of people, and you have to say it in a language that they can understand. Because if not, then they'll be lost. And when they're lost, then it's not memorable. You see what I'm saying? So we're transferring ideas, and in order to do that, it has to be where if I share that idea with you and share with somebody else, you almost say the exact same thing because it's so clear that they can't mix words. So I
Yeah.
think being able to the idea being very clear and put in a very simple format that people can actually follow. So that's why some people use like acronyms and use visuals and use something that people can relate with, stories that stick, stories that are memorable. There are a number of things that you can use, skills you can use when delivering your idea to actually make it memorable and stick. Yeah.
So I'll tell you, I'll share with the audience sort of my formula. So I had this idea. I wanted to talk about this idea of this wealth gap. Like, how do we close this wealth gap? But then I started with the story. Well, first of all, so I started one of the things that I learned in speaking. So you may hear it when I speak. I'll say things in sound bites, or I like to give statistics. Like there, and these are just things that I even teach when I'm teaching the people who are in my groups and in my cohorts. But I have an idea, and then I throw sound bites in there, I throw stats in there, and then there's a little humor in there, and then I take them through this journey. So I'm telling the story. So I talked about when I was growing up. My mom, bought me this Baby Alive doll, and I hated it. And so it was talking about my experience as a child and being Black, but it was leading to this idea of these are the things that we can do to close the wealth gap. So there were all of these elements in here. There was some storytelling, but really the end goal was here's 4 things that you could do to close this wealth gap. Because for me, and that's kind of like the thing that I really live in, the thing I really breathe, with everything that I do, with everything that's in me, with real estate and the educational piece, and me always trying to teach Black folks how to build wealth. I wanted to teach that lesson, but just going through the journey and sharing with them, these ideas. And I think even across the board, and I think that's why it captivated people, is because they were really 4 basic ways that I think were transferable. They were very simple, but I just wove it into a story, and I think that's what captivated people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did.
So if somebody has a powerful story though, but they don't know how to structure it, what should they focus on?
What should they focus on? They should focus on signing up for our masterclass.
Oh, okay. So let's talk about that. So before, before we get into that, because we're doing two things. We're tomorrow, y'all. So tomorrow, you know how I do the gym master classes. So just so you guys know, every Tuesday I come on live and I do a free master class on different wealth building strategies. So what I did is I asked Ade to come on here today so we could just kind of sort of talk about the TEDx experience. But tomorrow, listen, he's going to do a free masterclass on how to tell him about the masterclass. But before we do that, I want to give you some of his credentials. You guys know that he organized TEDx's. He has relationships. He has information that can get you on the TEDx stage. When I first got on here and I said, how many of you guys want to have a TEDx? A lot of you guys raised your hand. So tomorrow, he's going to show you for free how you can get on, or what you can do in order to get on, some tips on how to get on the TEDx stage. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about tomorrow in the Grow Your Money Masterclass, this free masterclass.
Okay, so tomorrow is actually a beautiful package we have never presented before, because it's divided into two parts. One is how to land a TEDx talk. Ooh. And the second part is what happens beyond that. What happens beyond the red dot. So we'll give you tips on those two areas as we talk about the different aspects, right? So definitely getting your idea clarified, how to apply, where to apply, tips on what you need to know when it comes beyond the TED stage. Because what's the essence if you have a great TED talk and then you just get hundreds of views when you could have millions of views or thousands of views like Constance had? I think one of the things we also have to remind you, I know you know already, is that we both love to help others to get their voice out there, and impact your world. That means a lot for me. Just growing up, I was not given permission to speak, and many of us probably went through that as well, where you're in a room where there are older people and they say, hey, you can't talk here, you're not given permission to be able to speak. And we know that having the permission to speak, or being able to speak well and be able to articulate well your ideas, can change the positioning and opportunity for you in life. And whether it's as a nonprofit entity or in business or even in career, we're talking about TED Talk, but TED Talk goes beyond just the stage. Is how does it influence every other aspect of your life? You can request for promotion because you know how to share your idea clearly, and you're able to move people to take decisions. You can get a business deal closed just because you know how to present it in 15 minutes. I think that's a cool thing about TED Talk, being able to shrink everything down to 15 minutes so people can get exactly what you're saying and they can follow through with you as you're presenting this idea. So what you learn through preparing for a TEDx and getting on the TEDx stage and even going beyond goes beyond just, oh, I'm a speaker. This is not just for speakers. This is for everybody. I believe that everyone has an idea to share that's worth sharing. And it may be you think it's just within your community, but you use this to actually leverage to learn the skills of being able to use that in any other space. So for the masterclass tomorrow, we'll touch on different areas to just help you get a clear understanding of what you need to get on TEDx stage and go beyond that.
Okay. So, the great thing about, being a part of TEDx, I think someone who I don't think he was part of the group that I did my TEDx with, but he got a Hollywood deal or something like that. And he didn't even have as many views as I did. Like, you don't have to have 1 million views or 100,000 views for it to change your life.
Oh, let me talk a little bit about that. And I know I don't have everybody's story, which is what I want to do now. I want to gather stories from everybody that I've gone through my stage. I've gone through creating over 100 applications, which has been created. So I think about 60 speakers now over time. And a few that I've gathered from, this one lady, she actually holds some money with a college. She's already finished. They sent the bill to her and everything like that. And they discovered she was a TEDx speaker. And they said, "Oh, we didn't know you're a TEDx speaker." They waived that what she owed to that school. They waived it off. Yes.
Can y'all wait? Let me ask Nelnet. Let me ask Nelnet if they can hold my Parent Plus loans for my kids. Go ahead.
And so there's another one also talking about the Hollywood. He presented his TED talk, and then before you know it, he's talking with some Hollywood producers to actually work on a film based on his TED talk.
Wow.
And I know I've not gathered. Oh yeah, there's one I received last week. He spoke on my TEDx stage. I think it was 2021 or 2022. This is the first time I'm hearing from him, because I said, "Oh, I'm trying to do this coaching thing because this is the first time I'm launching this publicly." I've done something with another partner before in the past, but actually to do something where I'm saying, "Okay, I'm the one launching it and I'm working on the side with Constance on it." So I said, "I don't even know how much effect or how it impacts them, right?" So his TED talk was a studio version. He came down to Houston, shot the TED talk, no audience. He said, "What are you telling me? Do you know what doors TED talk has opened for me?
Wow.
I can't even, like, it was like, that he's gotten deals, contracts just because of he had delivered his TED talk."
Crazy.
So that's just a few that I've heard, Constance.
Yeah.
Few. So it gives you access.
I will definitely say that it's definitely given me a lot of visibility. A lot of people have said that they have showed it to their classrooms. Some companies have showed it, in their diversity departments have showed my TEDx. So it's been used in academia, in corporate spaces. When I tell you, I had thousands of phone calls that came into my office. I got, I get recognized. Somebody was like, I was on a ship. I was on a cruise ship. Somebody was like, "Did you do a TED talk?" I was something. Hey, listen to this, Ade. I'm on a date nap. Somebody was like, "Are you Constance Carter?" I was like, unmatched.
Oh my goodness, that's funny.
He said, "Did you hear Constance Carter that did TED talk? What are you doing on the unmatched? Quick!" This is a couple years ago. I was at my daughter's graduation. Somebody was like, "You're the TED Talk lady." So, but it's that's you really what you really wanted to do, because what I ended up doing is it ended up translating to money. And so initially it was just like I did the TEDx. And it was like, okay, I really did it because it was just a goal of mine. I had no goal of monetizing it. And I was like, people were calling me. People were calling my office. Like I said, thousands of calls all day, every day. They wanted to know how they could work with me. I'm like, do you want to buy or sell a house? Like, what we doing? I have no idea. And so it expanded beyond that, and I ended up, building out my ecosystem. And there's real credibility there with the TED Talk, and it just everybody can't.
So just to buttress what you're saying, right? Because I was doing a search real quick. Some of you may look at it. I'm kind of looking away. So the person that the debts that she had with the school was wiped away. She had 700 views.
700 views, y'all. You don't need 442,000 views to get your. I need. It wasn't Nailnet though, because I need to call Nailnet. Last week, Nailnet told me my son has to. That's last semester. I've already paid for all of his schooling. They said, "Hey, we need this last semester paid for, or he ain't gonna walk the stage." So
the second person I mentioned, he has about 3,000 views. About
this is the guy from Hollywood?
No, this is the one that he said, because I asked him, I said, "Oh, how has the TED Talk helped you?" He said, you can't even explain the doors that I've opened for him financially.
Right.
That's this one. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it's
Yeah, no, tomorrow we're doing this free masterclass at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. Ade is going to give you tips on how to get, because you're actually doing three. You're organizing, or you're
Okay,
affiliated with.
so okay,
Tell them.
so currently right now, I'm in a new space. I'll put it that way. I don't really organize currently right now. What I do is I'm part of the community, which is kind of a little different in the sense that on some of the events that are coming up, I'm either a producer on that event, I'm an executive producer on some of them. I've been coaches on some of them. Actually been coaches with some TEDx with Sam Houston State University twice. And then also I have some other ones coming up that I'm part of it, but I'm not. So, and I have to make a clear delineation too that this program that we're doing is, even though it's about TEDx, is TEDx unaffiliated, right?
It's
This
not
is,
affiliated with TEDx.
yeah, this is our coaching program that we're bringing to the community.
Yeah.
We believe we're bringing value to you and help you to get clarity on how to move through this ladder. And I love what you said earlier on, Constance, about the fact that when you delivered your idea, it wasn't about the monetary part. It was more of the idea. And that's where a number of people get it wrong. When they start off with, oh, commercial mindset, it would show in your application. And once we see that,
Really?
yeah, we're going to turn that down because it's not about trying to boost you up in commercial from a commercial standpoint. It's more like, do you really truly have an experience or knowledge in an area that will actually change the perspective of people in a certain area of life and through your idea sharing, right? If it's not primarily that, you're going to be most likely be turned down. So I need to make that clear delineation as well, so that way we'll share more tips with you, and so that you understand what to watch out for, where your mind needs to be, that it has to be about the idea, not about the commercial basis. But what we're sharing with you is that, okay, the first part is to do that. Well, how can you impact more lives beyond, and impact your life too, using that to leverage, it's a company that is more focused on, oh, how much money they're going to make instead of impacting lives, you can tell, right? So, and you would impact lives and still make money, put it that way. So I think, that's the balance that we need to figure out as well.
So being that you've partnered with all these companies, I gotta ask, so if you are coaching people on how to do their TEDx, does that mean that they automatically are going to get into these TEDx's?
There is no automatic guarantee to get into TEDx, but what we do is we prepare you so that you can actually increase your chances of getting on a TEDx, like a high percentage. Consider it this way: it's similar to you applying for a job, and when you switch your mindset to think about it that way, that thousands of people are applying for the same position you're trying to go for. How can you separate yourself from all these thousands of people? That is what we help you with. So when you get a consultant or you get an agency and say, help me with my resume, help me to fine tune my resume, help me in how to apply, what jobs to apply for, it's very similar to being on the TEDx stage. So we'll help you fine tune that process so that you get a higher chance to actually get on the stage. And those skills you learn are also transferable to other spaces. It's not only on TEDx stage you can use those skills. You can use it to close a deal in pitching for your business, or even getting a promotion. It can be used in many areas. I'm sure Constance probably can tell you the experience of preparing for TEDx itself has affected how she does other things in her life. So
absolutely, yeah. I mean, me being disciplined to just perfect my TED, it helped with my speaking. And I will say that the things that you talked about in terms of getting in rooms, because I teach speaking. So I teach speaking, I have different communities where I teach speaking to. And I will say speaking is not just for the stage. It can get you a promotion. It can get you in front, you may have to do a presentation, just being able to articulate who you are, or your unique value proposition, or whatever that is, speaking is something that you need universally, whether you get on a TEDx stage or not. But I will say this: proximity matters. One, relationships will take you places that money cannot.
Hmm.
And so just like I've been able to refer people over to Ade. It doesn't mean he's going to accept them or not, but I referred people over, and they had to prove themselves to see if this is they were able to get on the stage. So recommendations can be made, but it doesn't mean that you're necessarily going to be chosen. But proximity matters.
Yeah. And I think
Relationships.
maybe one of the difference with just referring somebody to the stage and actually someone going through a training and preparation is they're not really ready for the application. And
Ooh,
like when we're going through the applications, it's like, is this one ready or not ready? Is this one ready or not ready? Because we still have a lot to go through,
right.
right?
Yep.
So you're falling off. You're already falling off of the short listing. You're not even getting past the gates.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
we want you to get past the gates. We
Yeah.
want you to qualify. There are people. You say, how many applications have you done before your time? I think I heard someone that did about 30 before they
Ooh.
got their first TEDx.
I didn't do that many. I may have applied maybe at 5 different ones and got turned down from all of them. And I'm like, my idea is worth sharing, y'all.
And so we'll teach you things that will help you to actually narrow that down and get more positive responses. So yeah, definitely.
Well, there are people out here teaching that for $10,000. I just actually got an email today from someone who coaches, who does TEDx coaching for $10,000.
Is that not what we're charging? I'm just kidding.
No, nowhere near. So
We'll
two
talk
things.
about that tomorrow.
Yeah, so tomorrow we're doing a free masterclass on some tips that'll get you in the right direction. But ultimately, I don't know if you want to talk about the cohort today or you want to talk about it tomorrow. We should probably talk about it today.
we can ask the people. Do they want us to talk about the cohort?
So there's going to be a free masterclass tomorrow, which is definitely going to be value. So you're going to get some stuff out of there. But the cohort is the in-depth training, and I tell you, I've trained with some of the best speakers in the world. I've trained with Lisa Nichols and Les Brown and a lot of Linda Clemens, a lot of other really great speakers, and just the value in getting core basic training that's going to make your messaging clear is invaluable. And so this is the same level of training that you're going to get in this cohort. So, so do you guys want to hear about what that looks like? Because when is that starting?
We have it May 19th, I believe.
Oh, shoot, it's in a couple weeks. Okay, so this is a cohort starting in a couple of weeks. So we got to get on. Yeah, man. All right, so listen, go ahead and tell them about the cohort anyway, because if this starts in a couple of weeks, we need to let everybody know as soon as possible what this looks like and what this opportunity looks like.
Do you have the
oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Maybe that make it easier.
Go ahead and start talking about it. Put it up.
Oh, sorry, what did you say?
I said go ahead and start talking about it. I'll put it up.
Oh, okay, awesome. Yeah, so I'm first of all, I want to say I'm very excited that I'm working alongside with Constance on this. Two things. The first one is that for her being the first one on just one of my speakers for the TEDx stage, I think we had 5. Was it 5 we had at the time? I'm trying to remember now. 5 speakers, 5 or 6. I think it was about that.
I don't know. I was being antisocial, so I don't. I'm just.
You ain't not that bad. You ain't not bad. I was watching you. You ain't that terrible. I was watching you. You still interacted with few people. I remember that. Because again, we don't know if it's COVID that is doing that also. Everybody stay to yourself, 6 foot. So so I'm excited that I'm working alongside with her on this. This has been on my heart for about a year now, a year and a half, that I've been working on this with a framework to help others to actually get their voices out there. When you're being on the other side of the table, where you're the one assessing and looking at what makes it and what doesn't make it, that is one of the value I bring to the table. I've seen where there's organizers out there, not organizers, coaching programs out there that they don't have organizing experience. So coming from from my end where I have the organizing experience. So I've seen a number of applications. I see what works, what doesn't work, and also coming from the coaching aspect. And then now combining that with what Constance is bringing to the table, that what happens after the red dots, bringing those two together is going to be explosive. I can't even explain what I'm seeing in my mind of what will happen with this select few. As a matter of fact, I talked with Constance and said, look, we just want 20. We don't even want that many people, because we won't really just focus on this 20, get them great results. And part of what I'm doing also is to, how do you search for those applications, what to look for, what are the opportunities that are out there. Then of course, applying the set questions. Almost every TED Talk speaking application, they have similar questions. If you're not prepared for them, you just answer them without being coercive. You have separate, because there's something they're looking for in
and ChatGPT is not going to be able to answer those questions for you.
No. ChatGPT is going to mess up. So so it could help you a little bit, maybe 80%. I don't know, because it's getting better, smarter, I must confess. But hearing from the human curator and guiding you to the process to weed out all those things that can raise a red flag and put you in a better position would get you on the stage faster. Okay. So, and then you get on the stage, what happens next? And so that's what we call it, red dot to revenue. So many people just look at the red dots, but they don't look at what happens after. How do you,
or they look at the revenue and they don't really understand what goes into the red dot to make sure that it's impactful. And you do have to approach it, I think, from an impact perspective. Like, what is your idea that's really worth sharing, that's going to make an impact on somebody's life? What's different that what you're bringing that thousands of others didn't? I saw somebody who talked about, closing the wealth gap, but it wasn't the same presentation as mine. My idea was a little bit different, and I think it was worth sharing, and it did pretty well. But I think what's unique, like I said, there's someone really literally that I just looked on my email that I got. It was a $10,000 TEDx cohort where they train you. So here's the thing. We try to make it as affordable as possible. This is actually the inaugural price. So the next cohort that we do is not going to be this price. So this is $24.97 is actually the inaugural price. So number one, you want to get on here. You want to be one of the early adopters that gets in this training, that gets the benefit, and that gets it at this great price. Number two, there's financing available. So if you go to the site, there's payment options. There's financing. So if you can't afford to do the $24.97, again, which is really inexpensive, we ain't trying to get rich. We're just trying to get you in here so that you can make an impact, but our time is valuable. So this is a fraction of what I do in terms of the coaching, in terms of what I do when I'm spending my time coaching people. So this is a really great price. The other thing is, the revenue that like you said, the part that I'm teaching is, how do you monetize that afterwards? How do you take what you've learned, and how do you make money from it? Because ultimately we all want to, maybe have some passive income, or maybe we're looking to go to another level within our jobs or our careers, or maybe we're trying to pivot into entrepreneurial space, or maybe we just want to get in front of people that we wouldn't get into. So your name would be spoken in rooms that you've never even entered, just by virtue of going through, if we're selected for TEDx, and the probability, no guarantee, but the likelihood that you'll have an opportunity to do it is much higher than if you didn't. So I think, the value here is immeasurable. So where do they go if they wanted to register for this?
Yes. So the link is on the
Is
the
it
flyer.
that?
Yeah. So the link is on the flyer. Is adishare.com/ let me see. It says there's
Red
slash.
Can you put it in the comments right there?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
if somebody
I
wants
think
to
I tried to do comment earlier. It's not allowing me.
it's not letting you do it.
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, I've tried to put it in the comments.
Put it in the notes, and then I'll copy and paste it in the comments.
Okay.
I don't know why.
I'll put it in notes. Okay.
Yeah. But so this starts actually on the 19th. So if you've ever wanted to do a TEDx and you want to get on the stage, there's one. Can I tell them about the other one?
What?
The one in Africa?
No, not yet. Not yet. She will release that one in the second, I think the second class, second session that we have, because we're gonna have 6 sessions.
It'll be
The
sessions.
second
Oh,
session, if you want to find out about that, you'll find out in the second session. Because
yeah. Okay. Okay. That one's going to be good. So, if you are interested, go here. And here's the thing, too. So, if any of my sisters from Net 7 Collective are watching, there actually is a discount for Net 7. I'm not going to put it on here, but I'll drop it in our group chat. And so, if you, and I know a few of the ladies have already expressed interest in signing up for the training. So don't sign up just yet. I'm gonna give y'all the discount code, and I'm sorry for everyone else. You guys can't get the discount code. That's for our Net 7 sisters, because they've already invested in themselves, and so this is going to be an opportunity. But I'm excited.
I'm looking for where to put the notes. I don't.
So you see the notes on the right hand side? Are you on a computer? The notes on the right hand side. You see where the says comments, something, but you see notes over there on the right hand side of the screen.
I see comments. I see people.
You don't see notes?
No notes.
Okay, so under people, so go to people. And
Under
then
people.
Can you click on me?
Oh, yeah, I can click on you. Okay, that works.
Wait, no. Does it do anything when you click on me?
I did, yeah.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Oh, there it is. All right. So I'm going to put the link in the chat so that you guys could sign up for it. Big Mac said, I like discounts. I know. You want to join Net 7 Collective? So that's the link that's the link to sign up for this. So this is going to be a 6-week training. Really quick, go over what they're going to learn again, and then we're going to get off here. And then tomorrow, if you can't do the training, at least do the masterclass tomorrow so that you can get some tips on and some strategies on what you need to do. But what are they going to learn in this in-depth 6-week class?
Okay. Yeah. So the first session is going to cover idea clarity. That is a very, very important stage. A number of people jump into the talk so quickly. They don't have clarity on the idea itself. We have an architectural framework that we use to help you break those ideas to become clear. So and make it TEDx worthy. So that's the first stage. Then second session will be the talk architecture. This is where we address opening hook, tension, pivoting, prove, how the call to action, your story mapping, the true line, even how to map the true line to your talk. So that will be the second part. And then the third part, which is very important, is the application strategy. This is how do you apply? Where do you apply? What are the questions you need to get ready? Phrases that you need to get ready. Almost every TED Talk speaker application right now requires a video. That video, oh yes, almost every one of them. Because now, in the past, what usually happen is that, you just fill out the form regularly, and then they invite you to an interview, and then people are not doing interviews that much any longer. There's some that still do it, but it's really tedious, right? I know a colleague that's is running a TEDx event right now, and one of the applications that he put out had over 700 applications.
Wow.
And he has to pick only 30. I was even amazed that he picked 30 out of 700. So that gate to be able to just present that video, the video usually is like 1 or 2 minutes. And there's a breakdown of what you need to present in that video. Would also teach you that in the application strategy, so that you can prepare yourself well. Then,
I didn't even know about that part, because that part didn't exist when I did mine.
Oh no, it did exist. What would have happened is that interview, right? Which I had a conversation with you, which would have been the interview for me.
Right. So that was much more of a time-consuming, tedious process. Having to interview.
Imagine you have to talk to maybe 100 or something. So being able to just do that video as well. And then the fourth session is where what we call the stage to brand bridge. This is where Constance and myself, we come together and we bring the whole thing together. So there's the idea developing. Now it begins to bridge into how do you use this to build your brand and credibility and the that will lead into the revenue part. Then Constance is going to go into product creation. So she'll address how do you package your expertise, which will tie into your idea as well, pricing, format. You get all these beautiful tips that are going to help you to go to the next level. And then there's the monetization blueprint. That's where the audience conversion, income streams, community building. Because, the beautiful thing is that when you get chosen as a speaker, it'll be good to have these things in place. Because once you have it in place, it's going to actually help you build the audience towards your talk itself, which will now open more doors for you to get into spaces that they can recognize and your idea that can shift what they're doing in that space. So remember, when you're delivering your TED Talk, it's just one idea. But that idea, I look at it as a door to everything else you're doing. So when she shared the idea about that wealth gap, that opened door to other things that has to do with wealth. She can't deliver everything in 15 minutes. It's impossible. So it becomes a leading point. So being able to understand how to lay this out in a systematic way to actually lead to making greater impact with everything else you're doing. So we're going to have those 6 sessions, and it's going to be very engaging, interacting, and we don't want a big crowd. That's why it's 20, and we want it to be effective and where we get a high percentage of great results at the end of the program.
Yeah. What about the technology piece?
Oh, the technology piece. So the technology piece is to enhance it. So we have the AI role playing. What that helps you to do is to rehearse your talk, which is what she didn't have in her own time. She didn't have that. So
no, I'm talking about the platform. Remember the platform?
Oh, that should be a bonus, special bonus. Should we talk about that now? We'll talk about that tomorrow. What about that?
Ooh, and that right there is one of the secret sauces right there. I'm telling you.
Yes, yes, because that ties into the second part of the session too. So.
Yeah, and the robustness of what you're getting for this compared to someone saying, I'm going to get you a TED Talk. I'm gonna tell you, there are people out there that are charging a lot of money just to get you in front of people, and there's no training with it. There's no training. So you're going to get the training, you're getting tools, you're getting access to people who have that's like me, like the other people that I've seen online who are charging a bunch of money for this service. They're like me. So say me, I did a TEDx, and now that I did a TEDx, now I'm gonna teach you how to do a TEDx, and I'm gonna teach you how to, I'm gonna try to connect you with somebody because maybe I have some connections. That's much different. I don't have the same access as Ade. Ade has relationships with other organizers. He has in-depth knowledge of TED. Like, it's much different than just a person out there, Joe Schmo, who got a couple hundred views or a few thousand views on their TEDx, and now they're charging you because their credibility is that they spoke on a TEDx stage, and now they're charging you to get you access because they were able to get access. And some access is easier than others. But now you have somebody who actually can get you in there. And again, there's no guarantees. But again, like I said earlier, relationships will take you places that money cannot. Okay. Yeah. So
the other thing to add to that is, which is so important that we cannot afford to miss, is that we do care about the people we're working with. There's a number of platforms that don't really, programs that I've met that they don't really care about the people that are signing up. And then the second part is, there's some TEDx stages that I've come across where they won't publicly put out their speaker application. They won't, and sometimes what they do is that the curators actually look within their network to find.
Yep. I've seen that happen.
Yeah. So being in these spaces is important, where you actually in the community. I always encourage people to be part of the community so that way you can get connected with the right people at the right time. Proximity, like she said earlier on, it's very essential, So
and I think you have the best of both worlds. So you have you who's in that community, who knows how to put on a TEDx, who knows how to structure a talk, who knows the framework. And you have me who I'm a speaker and I know how to monetize it, and I know how to help you to create, help you with your talk and help you to be able to strategize the business piece afterwards. So I think it's the best of both worlds. You really get a lot from this partnership. So I'm really excited about it. And we start May 19th.
May 19th.
May 19th. That's on a Tuesday.
That is is that Tuesday? That's Tuesday.
It's
a Tuesday. It's a Tuesday because
I was going to take a break from coaching on Tuesdays because I wanted to get outside on Tuesday nights.
Okay. We need to ask them. We can get out?
We can get out where?
I don't know what I'm saying right now at this point. It's a Tuesday, May 19th. Lock it down on your calendar. Make sure you get in. There are only 20 people. This is not like we're just putting numbers up. We are only taking 20 people for this cohort. That's what we're doing. Yeah.
20 people. So Deborah, I hope to see you there. Deborah says it's going to be great. So I hope you're signing up. I hope everybody that's watching is going to sign up. We're going to get up out of here. Hey, listen, I don't know if you guys have seen my TEDx or not, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play it for them just so they can see it.
Before you play it, I have a personal vision that I want to just share real quick. It's very short.
I'm interested.
I want to see 99%, if possible, 100% of everyone that gets into our program get into a TED Talk this year. We did this year. That's the dream. That's the vision. So
you talking about Mr. Make It Happen? So take that how you want. He has a vision. He cannot make any guarantees, but he has a vision.
I'm not making guarantees, but I have a vision.
He has a vision. He wants to get 100% of people in TEDx's.
Yeah. All right.
I don't even know if you've always wanted to do a TED Talk and you wanted to be on the TED stage, you want to be on that red dot, that red circle.
Hey, Deborah said if it's going to be outside, she'll be there.
What she said is outside is going to be there later. So outside will always be there.
Oh, outside will be there. Oh, okay.
Outside is going to be there. I want to be outside. So no, I'm just kidding. It's summer. No, but it's been great, you guys. So all the people who are on here right now, so if you guys don't mind, if y'all stick with us, I'm gonna take us off and I'm gonna just share, just in case you haven't seen my TED. I'm gonna share the screen and so that you guys could see it. Y'all ready? It's called Google That Shit. All right, so let me open it up.
It should be ChatGPT now. I'm just kidding.
I know. You can't hear it. What? Oh.
Did you connect the sound?
Yeah. Let me go back a little bit. There was a lot of comments on my little white jeans too. The men loved it.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Hello. How you guys doing out there? I'm Constance Carter, and I am a Black woman with a PhD, a public high school diploma. Give it up. And I'm super proud about that because a lot of the things that I've been able to accomplish, I'm a CEO of the largest African-American owned real estate firm in California, and I'm an investor, and I've had some really great accomplishments, but it's been done primarily because of God. I mean, I wouldn't be where I am today without him. The other thing is I hang out with some really, really smart people. Like, I am not the smartest tool in the show. I hang out with some really great people. I'm also a fervent learner. So I'm always at somebody's workshop, training, some type of conference. But the thing that I do most, one of the things that I run to very, very often is the power of the internet. Anybody ever heard of Google University? Well, that's where I got my PhD. I call it GTS. Does anybody know what GTS is? Google that shit. So every time I need to figure out something, anytime that I'm doing some research on anything, or I built my business by doing GTS. If my agents need something or my kids need something, first thing I tell them is to GTS. So what's GTS, y'all? Tell me one more time. All right. So I'm going to talk about a few things as an investor. I'm going to tell you how to invest, but I don't want you to just take my word for it. I want you to GTS. All right. So when I was 4 years old, my mom bought me a Baby Alive doll. Now, this was after months and months of me asking her over and over again. Actually, it was probably weeks. It may have been days, but in my 4-year-old mind, it was months and months and months. And I remember just as vividly as it was yesterday, she came home with this Toys R Us bag, and she said, I got something for you. And I was so excited. I seen this bag, and I seen this box peeking through, and I opened it up, and I pulled it out, and I was so excited, and I pulled out this doll, and I immediately started to cry. My mom was like, well, what's wrong? This is the Baby Alive doll that you wanted. I said, this doll is ugly. I hate it. And she said, well, you asked for this Baby Alive doll. I said, this is ugly. Well, that Baby Alive doll was black. And the one that I wanted, it was white. And somehow in my 4-year-old mind, I knew at that age that somehow black was bad. I knew at that age that somehow this black doll was inferior to the white doll. And I don't know how I learned it. It might have been TV. I have no idea. But that was further punctuated and confirmed when I went to elementary school. When I learned about being black, I learned that I was inferior. The only thing that I learned about being black was that we were slaves and that we were oppressed. I learned nothing more. I learned about the struggle of black people. And it wasn't until I got out of high school when I started to, with the power of the internet, and I used Google University, and I started to GTS. Tell me what GTS is again? Yes. And I learned that we were so much more than that. I learned that we had civilizations, African civilizations, thousands of years before slavery. I learned that there was the richest man that ever lived was an African named Mansa Musa. I learned that after the Civil War and after Reconstruction, there were towns that sprawled up all across the United States, all black towns that were prosperous. And there was one in particular. It was in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It was so prosperous that it was called Black Wall Street. Now, Tulsa isn't that big, and this was only like 32 square blocks or 35 square blocks. And there were over 600 businesses, and most Americans still don't know about this town to this day. Over 600 businesses. They had grocery stores. They had a bus system. They had law offices, libraries, movie theaters. They even had planes, you guys. And it took the dollar a year to circulate before it actually left the community. And even in the most close-knit communities today, it takes the dollar at least, like in the Asian community, it takes the dollar 30 days to circulate before it leaves the community. In the Jewish community, it takes the dollar 20 days to circulate before it leaves the community. In the white community, it takes a dollar 17 days before it leaves the community. But in the black community today, 6 hours. And so here you have this community that was so prosperous and it was thriving, and it was during a time that it was most dangerous to be black in America. Look up Red Summer, GTS that. It's when the black people were lynched at record numbers. And even in this small town, as they did all across the towns all over the country, they bombed it and they burned it down because they were jealous. And not only did they do that, but they went in and they stole the people's things from their houses. And they would say things like, well, how did this end have more than what we have? And then I read in an article just a few years ago, I GTS'd. It said by the year 2053, that median black income was going to be a 0. And not far after that, Hispanic income was going to be a 0 as well. And I thought to myself, I'm like, well, how is it that nearly 100 years after such a prosperous time as Black Wall Street, are we here where we're headed to a 0? How is that? And I do these lectures all over the country, and I talk to my friends and I ask this very question. And some of the things that I hear is black people, we like to wear our wealth. We like to have Gucci belts, nice shoes. We like to buy the most expensive cars. And while that's true in some cases, that's not by and large the entire case. There are things that have happened, systemic laws that were put into place that created this wealth gap. Right after Black Wall Street was destroyed in about 1935, The federal government said we are going to make home ownership a possibility for everyone from all walks of life. Everyone except people of color. So they came out with this FHA home loan that was supposed to be accessible to everybody, but they didn't allow African Americans, Hispanics, or other people of color to take part in that. So 80% of wealth in this country is generated through real estate. Did you know that? 90% of wealth in this country is passed intergenerationally. And so if we're not able to take advantage of these wealth building opportunities, then how are we able to build wealth? And so these laws that were put into place, they prevented us from being able to purchase. And if they did give us loans, they gave us predatory loans. And predatory loans is part of the American fabric, you guys. Wells Fargo was just sued 2 years ago for offering predatory loans to minorities. So it's very, very common, and it hasn't stopped. But what happened is you had these areas that they subjected people of color to. It's called redlining. I don't know if you know, but if you look at this map here, this is the city that I live in. This is the city of Stockton, right? And in the east part and the south part, these areas were redlined. Now, redlining happened all over the country. These areas in particular were redlined areas. And these areas in particular were mostly Black and Hispanics live. And this redlining has far surpassed anything that it did back in the third, because redlining was outlawed in 1968. But it far surpassed that because even today, these communities don't have any real economies. There's no big box stores. There's no major retailers. You won't see a Walmart in sight. But what you will see are some check cashing places, some liquor stores, some payday loans, and some churches. But no real contribution into the communities. So if we don't have an opportunity to build wealth, well, then how are we supposed to close the wealth gap? Well, let me share a couple of ways, because I am an investor. And I'm going to show you a few ways, at least 4 ways, things that you can invest in so that you can close the wealth gap. Because I don't really believe what Forbes said. I don't believe that has to be our story. I believe not only can we close the wealth gap, but we could exceed it. So number 1, the first investment we have to start making is we have to invest in real estate. Now, I'm super proud that even with the systemic issues that we've had, over 40% of Hispanic and Black households are homeowners. Even with the predatory loans, even with the fallout of the foreclosure market, over 40% of us are homeowners. So that's not bad considering there were laws put in place that prevented us from owning homes. But over 75 to 80% of our white counterparts are. So we can close the wealth gap. So again, 80% of wealth in this country is generated through real estate. Now, I own one of the largest African-American owned real estate firms in California. And the reason why we are so successful is because we're not just putting people in homes. We're not just saying, hey, we're just going to sell you a home. We're going to sell somebody else a home. We actually sit down with you and help you develop a wealth plan. What does that mean? We're saying, okay, we're going to put you in a home. In the next 3 to 5 years, we're going to help you to start creating your wealth portfolio. So not only are we going to put you in a home, we're going to help you to start purchasing multi-unit properties, and then possibly apartment buildings. And then we're going to buy the block. So we do things like credit parties, where we show people how to increase their credit and use it as leverage to start building wealth. It's called OPM. Does anybody know what OPM is? Other people's money. Absolutely right. So we show them how to use OPM so that they can start building wealth. And just yesterday, you guys, no joke, one of my clients called me the other day, somebody that I put on a wealth plan. And she said, Constance, I'm ready to buy my next home. Now, this was a young single mother. She had bought her first home a few years ago. And then she had used the leverage and the equity from that home and bought another home, a multi-unit. And then she used the equity and the leverage from that home and she bought another home. That was another multi-unit. Now she's ready to buy her 4th property, which is another multi-unit. So now she's up to 8 units. Single mother. This is the type of thing that we do for our people. And it's so important that we're utilizing real estate because, again, 80% of the wealth in this country is generated through real estate. The second thing that we need to do to start investing in, guys, is we need to start investing in stock, okay? Another one of the reasons why the wealth gap is so wide is because when people of color do invest, they only invest in real estate, but they're not investing in stock. They're scared. We think it's like gambling. we're scared to, put our money in it. And of course, the market, the stock market does like this. The other day, I saw on Facebook just yesterday, they were like, hey, the stock market is on sale. Let's buy, right? So we need to start doing this. And I did an experiment a few years ago with my kids. These are my kids up there. Aren't they beautiful? So this was a few years ago. And I bought the Dr. Boyce Walk-in stock program. And I call it the parable of the talents. And I told all my kids, I said, I'm going to give you $1,000 a piece if you take the stock program and you start investing in stock. So the only one that did it at all four of my kids is my oldest son, Duders, the one with the little circle and the arrow. So this kid was so excited. I gave him this $1,000. He opened up a Ameritrade account and he took that $1,000 and he made $8,000. You know how he did that? GTS. He Googled everything. Now, if a 12-year-old child could utilize Google to take a $1,000 investment and make $8,000, why can't we adults? The information is out there. Just the other day, now my son is on Robinhood, and he told me, because he's investing in Robinhood. So he told me the other day, he said, Mom, I just made $480 on penny stocks in one day. And so we don't need a whole bunch of money to start investing. You can start investing pennies, dollars, couple of, $50, $25, $100. Just start investing. And not only that, teach your children how to invest. The third thing we need to invest in is ourselves. We need to be more vigilant about opening our own businesses. Guys, sometimes God has placed something on the inside of you and you're scared to step out there on faith. Right now is the best time that you could start investing in yourself. Listen, if COVID hasn't taught you anything, it should have taught you that you cannot depend on your job. It should have told you that you have to have multiple revenue streams. 42% of this economy is made up of small businesses. And it's made up of people who are willing to take the risk to jump out there and do that in spite of their fears. Now, right now is the best time, I promise you, in the history of this country, in the history of this world. You know why? Because we got the internet. We can do whatever we want to do. We can be whoever we want to be. We don't have to worry about things like discrimination, because I don't got to be a Black woman. I could be anybody. I could sell any product. I could do anything that I want via the power of the internet. You ain't got to worry about high startup costs. You could just do it. Be like Nike, just do it. And don't wait for it to be perfect. Don't wait for perfection. There's a saying that says, beta now, better later. Perfect it as you go. And the fourth investment, and my final investment that we need to start doing, is we have to invest in our children. These areas, these red line areas are still affected, like I said, today. City of Stockton is where I live. It was the epicenter of the foreclosure market. They filed bankruptcy. But one of the biggest things for Stockton is they have the lowest literacy rates in California. And these are reflective of that. These test scores are reflective of the lack of investment in these communities. Think about this. We spend $32 billion more on affluent schools than we do on impoverished schools. Meaning we spend $32 billion more on white schools than we do for children of color. And the test scores reflect that. Black and brown kids aren't inherently dumber. White kids aren't inherently smarter. They just have access to more resources. Now, Judy talked about the ways that we could help these children and the things that we have to do differently. But we need to have the resources. Each state in this country, we spend more money on prisoners than we do on pupils. Imagine if we broke the mold and we turned that around and we spent that money on pupils and not on prisoners. What would it do for the economy? It would take the burden off the prison systems, that's for sure. I'm from the Silicon Valley originally, and over 72% of the tech employees are from other countries. And it's great that America is just such a great country that anybody could come in and have opportunities and build wealth. That's a beautiful thing. But why don't we do the same thing for our babies? Why don't we invest in them so that they can have those opportunities? So again, listen, 4 things you could do to start investing so that we can close the wealth gap. And I believe it's possible. I do not prescribe to what Forbes said about us being at a zero in the year 2053. Number one, invest in real estate. 80% of wealth is generated in real estate. 2, invest in the stock market. Today, right now, I want you to go to your apps, download Acorns, download Robinhood, and start investing today. 3, invest in yourself. You are your biggest commodity. You are your biggest investor. And number 4, invest in our babies. Because when we invest in the life of a child, it helps the community, it changes the economy, and the whole country is better because of it. And if there's anything that I said that you're not familiar with, I challenge you all to GTS. All right, I'll see you later. I'm Constance.
So what did y'all think? What did you guys think? I just got kicked off of YouTube for sharing that stream. Oh my God. So YouTube stopped it. But I'm gonna get up out of here. What did you guys think? So that's what we're gonna be teaching. So tomorrow, Gym Masterclass, go to gymmasterclass.com, and Ade is gonna be sharing some real tips on how to get your TEDx applications accepted, how to get on the TEDx stage, like how to formulate your idea that's worth sharing. Okay. And then, so go to gymmasterclass.com to sign up for the free masterclass. Actually, it's going to give you some real gems. One of the things that I told him that I wanted to share is I want him to share things that are really valuable. Not, you know how sometimes you go to a free, because you know, every time you come to my free training, you learn some shit. Like you learn some real deal shit. So I told him that I want him to really teach things that you're going to be able to really take and walk away. So whether you sign up for the 6-week cohort or not, you're going to be able to learn some things from this masterclass tomorrow that at least get you to where you need to be. It'll give you some ideas of what you need to do. And then you might be able to take it and run with it. So that's free 99. Go to gymmasterclass.com. Okay. But if you want to be a part of this 6-week inaugural training and you like what you heard, that was mine from 2020. Like I said, there was only a few people up in there. So I was funny, but it just didn't seem like it because it wasn't a whole lot of people, wasn't a whole lot of response. But I mean, the information was great. It did 442,000 views, and you know, it did a world for me. Some of you may know me from the TEDx. Some of you may not have known who I was until you seen the TEDx. I don't know, but it was and I know people who are way more popular than me who did TEDx's that didn't do as great as mine. And I know people who are less popular than me who've done TEDx's that have done millions of views. So it just all depends. So there is a strategy. There is a method actually behind doing the TED Talk. Don't just do the TED Talk, but there's things that I did afterwards that actually helped propel me out there. People were saying, actually every day I was getting hit, whether it was, like I said, I got thousands of calls from my office, but I also would get text messages from everybody because as soon as they would get on Google, my TEDx was there for months. My TEDx was on the front page of Google for months. And that's the reason why I got so many views. And so there's things that I did intentionally to make sure that it caught on. Because what happens is once it gets caught on, once they catch on, then they're going to say, oh, this is what people want to see. And then it'll show up in the algorithm. So you're going to learn that inside the cohort. I'm not going to tell you those secrets tomorrow in the free masterclass. But if you take the 6 weeks, you're going to learn that piece too, and how to monetize and beyond. I've been able to, create an ecosystem and all those things, post that. So if you are interested in getting in becoming a part of the program, go to, it looks like, a lot of people was mad. YouTube. Ooh, I hope they don't mess up my YouTube page. But if you are interested in being a part of the 6-week inaugural, y'all, it's only $24.97. The second one will not be this cheap. I'm just letting you know that right now. It'll be double that. But we just want to get 20 people in there because we're able to work individually with you to make sure that you put out, that you're able to get on the stage and that you create a great TEDx. And listen to what this man said to y'all. He didn't say it to me. He said he can't guarantee that you're going to get on the TEDx stage because nobody can make that guarantees. But he has a vision that 100% of the people who go through the cohort will be on a TEDx stage. He can't make any guarantees, but he has a vision. Okay. So make sure, if you are interested in if you've ever wanted to do a TEDx, that was a dream of mine that I manifested 2 years before I got on the stage. It took me 2 years to actually get on the stage. Imagine you've been wanting to do this and an opportunity presented itself to you and you're able to do it right away. And he's organizing 3 this year. So, or he's partnering, he's not organizing, he's partnering with some folks. And then he also is in the community. So you just have a win-win-win. And then tomorrow he's going to share another bonus. I'm like, dang, you giving them all that. It's even on top of that. So it's going to be a lot of great information. Register for tomorrow, gymmasterclass.com, and join our 6-week cohort, which we're starting in 2 weeks. All right. I'll see you tomorrow, 12 o'clock, same bat time. Oh, actually, you got to sign up for it. Go to gymmasterclass.com.